Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. The Laker game. I want to talk about the Lakers and the Memphis Grizzlies at FedEx Forum tonight. The Memphis Grizzlies did get the Los Angeles Lakers, even though they did not play their best basketball game through three quarters. In the fourth quarter, things fell in place for the Grizzlies, and they were able to beat my Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James was absolutely and utterly phenomenal, just phenomenal. I think he hit like 6 out of 8 threes or something crazy like that. Had huge numbers, played really, really, really good. But when I say phenomenal, that does not include the unfortunate turnover at the end, down the stretch of the game, where he stumbled and threw the ball straight into a situation where it was just not going to work. But that was one of 18 Laker turnovers tonight, and yeah, it was this is one of those games where you saw the momentum from yesterday, the Houston game, the momentum carry over. The guys started the game hot. LeBron was super hot to start the game. It was going well because we started with Dwight Howard at the center, matching up with Steven Adams and giving ourselves an opportunity with size. But we got away from that, and we tried something that you should never, ever try. Never, ever, ever try. Fizdale thought it would be a good idea to play Carmelo Anthony at the 5, and Carmelo Anthony did not handle that very well. He had one of the worst games you'll probably ever see him play, and quite honestly, it was simply because he was asked to do things that he should never be asked to do on a back-to-back at 37 years of age. So here's what I'm going to say. I do still think we need to fire Frank Vogel, but we need to also fire Fizdale as well. He cannot be the guy that replaces Frank Vogel, head coach. I like Fizz. I do. I remember him from the Grizzlies, but I also remember him from the Knicks. And when he was with the Knicks, they were horrible. And a lot of times with the Grizzlies, they were horrible too. And tonight, his coaching was ultimately what hurt us. We got away from what worked. You know, we had a situation where we were up for the majority of the game. Yeah, did we have some bad sequences with turnovers and things of that nature? Yes, it was a lot of that. But what you also saw was us matching up properly. Did Dwight Howard play his greatest game? Absolutely not. He was fumbling the ball and stuff like that. Wasn't catching the ball the way that I would like to see him. You know, we were trying to force it to him and it just wasn't working. But what he gave us was size. Simply someone that can be the center. And what coaches and players and everybody has to understand is, even though Dwight Howard and DJ are older and not players you want to play at all, shouldn't probably even be in the league right now, you still need to play them at center with this roster because the players that we have to play center other than them are not centers and can't play center. It doesn't mean they're not great players. It doesn't mean that they're not capable players. It just means that they shouldn't be playing center. And that is exactly what we did tonight. The same thing I said that the Lakers got away with last night playing LeBron at center. They tried tonight playing Carmelo at center. And it was a recipe for disaster. You're not going to win a basketball game that way. So I definitely have to say this loss is overall credited to the coach, simply for getting away from what worked and not trusting Dwight Howard down the stretch. I don't know what's going on with Dwight. I don't think it's anything we're aware of, but it has to be something behind the scenes that's making it so that they're not trusting him. DJ was nowhere near competent at all in terms of during the start of the season. He had certain moments, and I pointed him out where I thought he was good, but for the majority of the time he wasn't playing well. And they were going with him over Dwight, and it's like, to me, that speaks to a lack of trust behind the scenes. Something is wrong. But nevertheless, you got to do what you got to do. Since Rob has not gotten us a center, and they refuse to play Huff for whatever reason, we just don't have a center out there. We are running people who are not centers, who have never been centers, at the end of their careers on a back-to-back, and asking them to do it, and it's a recipe for failure. I got up here earlier and said that I felt the Lakers were going to probably lose this game. Not probably. I said they were definitely losing this game. It didn't go exactly the way I thought it did. It would, but we still came to the same result. And it came to the same result for the same reason I thought it would. Ironically enough, you know, I thought I was going to have to come up here and say, man, the Lakers made me look stupid because they matched up properly. And they went into the Memphis Grizzlies against a team that should have been playing better but didn't, and beat them up. But the reality is, they did that for one half. The first half, the Lakers made me look stupid. The second half, they did exactly what I was worried they would do, and ultimately it cost us the game. So that's what happened there. THT was especially awful tonight. His, like I said, his shot selection, he's one of the worst selectors of shots I've ever seen in my life. He really just needs someone to sit him down and tell him what he should and should not do, and then work with him repeatedly throughout the summers over the next 4 or 5 years to help him become the player he's going to be. Maybe even send him to the G League. Honestly, it's that bad. It's that bad. And the Lakers paid him, and it was a horrible decision. He was bad last year. When we played him, he did not, he was still struggling. I said that. I told y'all, I was like, look, THT is not that. I said it. If you follow me, you already knew what to expect, because he came out the gate playing great. And I thought I was going to have to retrace those steps as well, because I initially told everybody that he was going to struggle this season because he's not consistent yet. And he has a lot to learn. He hasn't played a lot of basketball. And, it's played itself out. This is exactly what we're seeing. It's exactly what we're seeing. And we're asking them to do too much. And just like everybody else on this team, when they don't have a center on the floor, their mistakes are magnified. I'm telling you, a lot of the problems that we're having down there is because we don't have a center, bro. Honestly. A lot of this stuff just does not happen. Even the stuff you think has nothing to do with not having a center on the floor definitely does. Because the reality is you're asking guys to do things they can not do, and that frustrates the entire unit. Stanley Johnson was excellent on the defensive end tonight. He was aggressive. I'm still very happy with him. Malik Monk, same thing. Just continuing to be good. We played a lot of Avery Bradley tonight. I hated it. I hate it so much. Why? Because Avery Bradley ain't that no more. Just like I said about our guy, Wayne Ellington. Both of those guys are not that anymore. I'm gonna come up with a list of players that we need to get just move on from, man. Respectfully move on from. It's about 7 of them at this point. They just need to not be on this roster anymore, and they need to be replaced with players that can do things that they are not able to do. And that is it. That is literally it. We are not in a space where we need to talk about X's and O's until we fix our roster. So I like the Stanley Johnson pickup. He was excellent tonight defensively and did some good things offensively. I don't expect him to be a world beater shooting the ball. He can't shoot like that. But what he does on the defensive end is helpful to his team. And then there's Russell Westbrook. His struggles were very much on display tonight. I try so hard, man, not to display my actual frustration, because I'm sure my neighbors would tell you how I actually feel about watching Russell Westbrook play. It's a lot of cuss words. It's a lot of insults. I am not a nice person watching Russell Westbrook play basketball. I'm just not. And that's what I had to be honest about. I'm like, I'm glad nobody's here to be annoyed by me as I cuss at this man into this phone. And look, like I always say, I like Russie, man. I got a lot of respect for Russie. He's somebody that's LA's finest, man. Good quality guy and all that. But the problem with him is he does not play the type of basketball we need him to play. And I'm saying that with so much respect in my heart, y'all, I tell you. But I'm just at a point where I've lost confidence in Russell Westbrook's game. And even though he gave us his stats, the stats were amazing. What's really happening right now, honestly, I think it's just his version of regression. He's still powerful, but he can't get up as high. He's not as explosive. And that explosiveness is something that he's learning that he doesn't have in real time. And it's really one of those situations where he's in like a twilight zone, it seemed like to me. It's like everything he does is wrong. And this is what it reminds me. I'm going to tell you the truth, man. And this is something that, like, I don't like bringing this up because this person has moved on from all of that. But this is what I have to remind myself of. It's the only thing I can equate it to. Kwame. Mama's cooking, and I respect Mama's cooking. I'm a fan of who he is now. But when he was a Laker, he really had a lot of troubles internally. A lot of mental troubles in terms of just being not able to finish, not able to kind of just keep his mind in the game, and he did a lot of little mental mistakes. That's what I'm seeing from Russell Westbrook. It's a lot of what I like to call self-conscious mistakes, to where you're paying attention to yourself making mistakes rather than paying attention to what you're doing. It's almost like a weird anxiety thing. Now that's maybe my projecting, because I've experienced that in my own way, where I can't, pockets at a time where I just can't get right. And what I'm usually feeling is I'm watching myself make mistakes, and I'm down in myself, and I'm frustrated, and it's that kind of thing that I think I see in Russell. He's really having a tough time being a Laker, playing with LeBron James. He's tight. He looks uncomfortable, and the mistakes are piling up in such a way that it's making him look horrible, not just bad. You know, when he played with Houston, he had times where their system was in such a way to where he could aggressively play, and even though it was a little stagnant here and there, you know, for the most part, he didn't look that bad. Obviously, playing with Kevin Durant, there were their struggles, but he had his explosiveness back then, so he was able to overcompensate for any mistakes that he was making in other areas, you know. And you'd be in awe of him because he was so much more athletic than everyone else. That's not the case anymore. So now you're just left with the mistakes. You know, the turnovers that were always there, you're left with those without those explosive dunks, without that explosiveness, without his legs being able to string together 8 and 9 threes in a row. And that rhythm and that pace that he played at OKC, you don't get that because LeBron James is down there. So that takes the ball out of his hands. So it's to where other players, you know, they'd spread the floor in such a way to where he would run it, the show. Bradley Beal play off of him, boom, boom, boom. It all worked at his pace. We play at a different pace. We have an unorthodox style for his natural speed. And I think it's leaving him very, very, very much in a twilight zone. That's what I think is happening out there. And he's becoming more and more self-conscious. And he's bumbling and fumbling. And it's getting worse and worse every night. It's getting deeper and deeper in his head. And I think he's going to need to sit on the couch to get his Laker trauma out of his head. I honestly believe that. I honestly think he's going to need therapy after this, after his tenure as being a Laker. And if I were him, I would want to leave home so I don't have to be a part of this anymore. And it's sad, you know, to think that, because he probably waited all his life to be a Laker. He's put out a lot of good energy, giving back to communities and various things, thinking he was going to play his whole career in OKC. It didn't work out that way. Thought he would probably be able to play with KD. It didn't work out that way. You just want to see a guy's career go better. You certainly don't want to see him come home and look this bad. Now, there's a lot of season left, and I personally don't think he's going to be leaving the Lakers anytime soon, because I don't think the Lakers can trade that contract. He would have to play better in order for anyone to desire to have him. And I just don't see a path to that. This is just going to be a very, very long season for him unless we're able to relieve him of this by getting him off of our team, which I think should be priority number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. At all cost. When I say all cost, I'm talking sending him and AD to a destination for a package. I kid you not. I've been well past ready to blow this team up. I'm done with Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook. I'm done with both of them. I've seen enough. So, you know, the fact that AD is hurt is just masking his issues. I'm sure if he was out there, he'd be struggling just the same. We'd still be losing these same games, I believe. And that's the reality of the situation. I don't think either one of those guys make LeBron James better or give him an opportunity to win a championship anytime soon, if at all anymore. So that's where I'm at, man. I've been done. I couldn't have been more done than I was 3 weeks ago, so nothing happened tonight to change that. I predicted that Ja Morant would go for over 40. He did just that. No surprise there. Desmond Bain was pretty good. You know, Jaren Jackson, those guys. Xavier Tillman's name was called a lot. I like what I saw from him. Ty Jones, all those guys played good enough. They didn't play well, but they played good enough, if that makes any sense. I actually think the Memphis Grizzlies should have lost tonight. Given how they were playing through 3 quarters, if the Lakers would have continued to do the same things that worked, we would have won. But the fact of the matter was, Fitz decided that it was a good idea to go Carmelo Anthony small ball against a Memphis Grizzly team with all of that size. And they took advantage. They took advantage in a way that should not have been taken advantage of on a night where LeBron James is having a legendary stretch of basketball. Just he hasn't shot the three ball that well in a while, and he's firing on all cylinders. He looks like an MVP candidate, and his teammates are nothing. They did nothing for him. I think about 3 or 4 guys helped him tonight. Stanley Johnson helped a little bit. Malik Monk helped a little bit. Dwight Howard, when he was out there, was helpful. Other than that, it was working. People were working against him. And if you look at Westbrook's stats, you say, Brandon, you're crazy. But if you look at Westbrook play, you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. I don't know what his plus minus was. I should have checked. But I can't imagine it was any good. Can't imagine it was any good with some of them turnovers. And just some missed dunks. That seemed to be happening every night. And some of the turnovers, it wasn't just him, Some of the turnovers we had tonight as a team, it was like we were all Russell Westbrook tonight. LeBron was Russell Westbrook down the stretch. THT was Russell Westbrook. They all had it tonight. And there was a sequence down the stretch of the game. I hate to keep pointing out situations like this, but it's true. It really is true, man. We were down by 1. And it was an offensive rebound. It was a rebound being carried off of the defensive glass. So our guys were going after a missed shot that the other team missed shot. Stanley Johnson had got the jump on the rebound as it was going out of bounds. Russell Westbrook saw Stanley Johnson pull down that board and literally swiped at him to get the rebound out of his hands. And he swiped at his own teammate, y'all. And when that happened, Stanley Johnson fumbled the ball, tried to connect with it, tried to keep it in his possession, fell on the ground and went out of bounds. If Russell Westbrook doesn't go after that rebound, that's a rebound that Stanley Johnson gets. Play goes down. Maybe we score, maybe we don't, but we at least get a possession out of it. Mind you, we're down by 1. This is like maybe down the stretch. We got like 2-3 minutes left in the game. They score, hit a 3, and we never got within range again. This is just like the type of crap I was talking about in regards to that missed dunk against Brooklyn. Was it Brooklyn? Yes, Brooklyn. Where we were down 1, and if he connects on that, we put ourselves in a position to have the lead, but instead he blocks the dunk, and then it goes the other way, and we never get a chance to, again. This is the exact same thing that happened. Russell Westbrook is a catalyst for our failure down the stretch of basketball games. And though it's not his fault that we were in those circumstances, I blame Fizz for not playing Dwight because it wouldn't have been that bad if we would have played our center. The fact of the matter is, it just triggered the rest of what you saw after that. Everything that happened after that was us bumbling and fumbling just like that play. Everything that happened before that was us kind of surging and doing all right. It was that moment that took the momentum out of the game, in my opinion. When a guy has a rebound and another guy who's trying to get his 10th to get his triple-double, or whatever the situation was there, swipes at it, and swipes at his own teammate. Now, mind you, it happened really fast. I don't think Russell Westbrook was actually trying to take the ball from his own teammate, but he was so adamant about rebounding the ball over any and everybody to get his stat that it ended up costing us a turnover. Now, Stanley Johnson deserves some blame because you got to control that ball. You want to control that ball. But if it's your own damn teammate swiping at it, not the defense, then what are you supposed to do? I'm just like, what can I say? It's indefensible, all of it. Everything he do that is negative is takes your momentum away from your team. And I'm just praying that we can get rid of his contract. Like, I'm literally praying to God that someone will be kind enough to take our trash from us. Him and any and all trash on this team. And I mean that. I'm sorry. I respect these guys. I do. A lot of them are Hall of Famers I'm talking about. But we need youth. I don't want to play with no old dudes, and I don't want to see no more small ball, fam. Okay? This small ball stuff makes me want to fire the entire coaching staff. The small ball stuff is nothing. And let me tell you, I'm saying this because I know that it's frustration speaking this way. But I need Rob Pelinka to make a move, man. I need him to make a move. I don't care if it's a big move or a small move, but you've got to get us some size, brother. We need some size. You have got to get us. I don't care if you go back and get JaVale McGee back. I don't care, bro. But make sure you get us a center, man. It could be Tyler Zeller. I don't care. Just make it a C. Because if he doesn't get us a center, I'm going to start calling for his head. Straight up. He need to leave. We're going to fire him too. Because I'm going to blame somebody for this roster. That's how I feel. You know, and if it ain't, and since y'all ain't going to get rid of LeBron James, I'm going to blame Rob. Even though I know Rob don't do nothing that LeBron James don't allow. But at the end of the day, somebody got to tell LeBron no. Somebody got to have the coronas to say, no, bro, no. We're not going to go with this ridiculous 42 this year, 47 million next year contract for Russell Westbrook so you can feel like you're doing something by winning with this guy. No, we're not doing that. We're going to make sure our money go where it's supposed to go. Unless you're going to pay his salary. That's why I tell Jeannie, be like, hey, if I was Jeannie, I'd be like, you paying his salary, bro. We both billionaires. I'm not paying for that. This is a collaboration. You want him on this team, you pay for that. I swear, Gene, y'all be glad I don't own this team. Me and LeBron James probably wouldn't even get along because he'd be coming to me telling me some of the stuff about this roster, and I've been like, bro, I don't give a damn. I trade all of y'all. We ain't gonna do this. Trading him, trading for him, giving away all this youth, giving away all these picks for Anthony Davis, for him to give us one good year. No, I'm over all these people. I want them all gone. That's where I'm at with it. Because the way I look at LeBron James is this. His individual stats only help himself. I'm in awe of him. I like him. I think he fits on every team imaginable. I think he's as good as advertised. But I don't like what comes with him. And the more we go through this season, the less I feel good about him on this team. Because I know this is what comes with it. It's like, yeah, he going to be great, but the rest of the team going to suck because of him. Because he going to want to play with trash players for whatever reason. He likes life being hard for himself. I'm over that. I'm over that. And if he wasn't like that, his finals record would be better. Facts. I tell you, he made a lot of them decisions for the rosters that he played on. And I think it's why his teams weren't as deep down the stretch when he needed them to be. When he was left with nothing but Dellavedova, it was because they paid the wrong people. When he was left with an old Dwayne Wade, it's because they paid the wrong people. Understand, LeBron always needed help, but it was always his fault. And that's what I've come to realize as a Laker fan. This is the same pattern he's been doing since he left Cleveland the first time. Finding himself in situations where he didn't have enough help because he was lobbying for players to get paid that should not have been paid as much. And as a result, they could not get the talent they needed. This is facts, bro. This is facts. So every time I see him go for 35 or 40 points, I'm also looking at the rest of the team saying, we suck because you wanted these players. Sorry, I'm done playing games. I know the man's birthday tomorrow. We'll wish him a happy birthday tomorrow. He played great tonight. I give him his praise for playing great. But what I don't like is seeing Avery Bradley starting. What I don't like is seeing us pay THT. What I don't like is looking at them two centers and knowing them guys should have retired 2 years ago. What I don't like is looking at Russell Westbrook and knowing we're going to pay him $80 million to turn the ball over probably 200 more times. Do you understand what I'm saying? Enough. I'm a Laker fan for real, bro. Nothing goes above the team name. No name on the back, no name on the front. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to ruin our franchise with this nonsense, you are part of the problem and need to go with the rest of the garbage that you brought with you. I'm trading everybody for picks, and we starting over. That's how I'm rolling. Because I don't like the idea of us not having a pick next year or the year after that or the year after that, knowing that an infusion of young talent is coming in and the league is getting better as that young talent comes in. Meaning, those kids that are coming in are more likely to win than the younger kids that came in over the previous several years. These guys are more poised. They're better, they're faster, and they're more talented in some ways. So if you're going with this old guy, small ball, you're going to be the worst team in the league. And that's exactly what we are right now, the worst team in the league. I'm done playing. Because when I look at Houston, we barely beat them. And that was because something that normally happens didn't happen. Russell Westbrook had one turnover. That ain't never going to happen again. In the fourth quarter, please. That's the only reason why we won that game. Lord knows it wasn't because we were killing it at the center position with LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony. We just kind of got away with that. Not tonight, though. Not tonight. Nah, not tonight. I'm so frustrated and done with this team. I swear to y'all. I don't think I've been this upset with a roster since we had Robert Sacre running around. That was the last time I was this disappointed in the roster. Never. None of the kids pissed me off like this. None of them. When we had those youngsters running around and we had a record like this, I was having more fun. Because this is garbage. Got Carmelo Anthony running at the center position on the road after a back-to-back. That man is 37. What are you thinking? Fitz, what's going on, my man? You trying to get a head coaching job and you do that? Not with me. No, sir. Can't do it. I value quality possessions, and what I saw was us down the stretch not have any. Nothing quality. All nonsense. So that's what I got, man. That's what I got. The Lakers made me look like a genius. Because I said they had no chance of winning the game and they lost. It didn't go the way I thought it would, because I thought we'd get blown out from the start to finish. Nah, Memphis was playing terrible. We gave ourselves a little fool's goal. But then, like we always do, we found a way to lose. Found a way. Because Memphis was doing everything they could to let us win that game. Believe you me, that team was playing bad. And what we do? Play down to the level of the opponent, do everything we can to make sure they have the matchups they need to beat us. Thanks for that, Lakers. And Bron, hey, you put up the numbers, man. Put up the numbers, look great, hitting shots, hey. But guess what? Your team is garbage. Why? Because you wanted it to be. So here we are. Enjoy. My name is BDF44. I'm done, man. 18 turnovers. You know 14 is the number. But hey, you know, some of them turnovers, we might as well have had 25 turnovers. Some of them turnovers we saw tonight. So damn bad. So bad. BDF44. Peace.